Alright, today I'm going to go over Fieldpiece's brand new clamp meter. It's the SC57 and it is a wireless enabled clamp meter. So let's go first over the basic functions and then we'll get into the wireless part. Alright, most noticeably we got the swivel head. Swivels around so you can get into hard to reach places or hard to view wires. Then we got the jaw light, gets into hard to reach places or hard to see places. Going around the dial we have temperature built in right with some thermocouples down here. Microamps DC, microfarads for capacitance, and ohms for motor windings. We have the receive button. This is when you're doing the wireless function. We'll get there in a minute. We have hertz and amps. Now both of these are done with the clamp when in this switch position, so I can get hertz and amps from the clamp. Next is hertz and volts. This is from the leads. Then we have volts DC, and it does non-contact voltage. So looking at the display, I have a nice bright blue backlight first of all. Then we have the sync button. That's the button I'll use to sync it wirelessly. And then we have the select button. What the select button is for is to alternate between modes on the range. So for example, this range can measure either hertz or amps AC. All I do is just press the button to select either one. So right now I'm in amps, as you can see with this little icon down here. Then I can press the select button and it'll switch over to hertz. So that's all the select button does. Alright, now what we're going to do is get into the wireless functions. Alright, now what I'm going to show you is a couple applications using the wireless feature. But first, let's show you how to set up the wireless feature. The SC57 is a wireless transmitter as well as receiver. So when it's transmitting, you can transmit amps, volts, hertz, anything from this meter down to one of Fieldpiece's display receivers. The SC57 comes with just a simple receiver, and what this allows you to do, or simple transmitter I should say, what this allows you to do is to turn any of the Fieldpiece accessory heads into a wireless measurement. So the one I'm going to show you today is the ATH4, which is our dual temperature head. It measures two temperatures and differential temperature. So let's first sync these two guys up. I'll start with everything in the off position. So the first thing you want to do is set up your accessory head to measure what you want. I'm going to set it on T1. That's just taking the measurement from this thermocouple right here. And then I'm going to set up my accessory head to DC. This is a DC accessory head. The back will tell you what mode it is, what the meter needs to be in, or the transmitter needs to be in. And then once I have that set up, I just turn on my SC57, press the sync button, and then press the sync button on the ET2W transmitter, and you can see I have 68 degrees. Put my backlight on so you can see. Alright, so that is displaying 68 degrees right from this one thermocouple. Now what I got behind me is a little makeshift air conditioner. Got my condenser over here, condenser fan, my compressor, my evaporator coil, actually looks like a coil, and then I have my blower fan, just a little fan to get some air movement across that evaporator coil. Let's go ahead and turn that on. Now with the ET2W and the ATH4, what I can do is just switch the mode. So right now I'm measuring T1 and you can see about 68 degrees. T2 is about 70 degrees, so that's on the opposite side of the blower. Then I can get my differential. So about -4 degrees. So that's the difference between T1 and T2 as the coil cools down the air coming across the coming across the coil and hitting my thermocouple. So as you can see, just for me turning it on is dropping a few degrees. Probably won't get too much differential just because of how I got it, how the makeshift system I got set up over here. But as you can see, it's be really handy. What I could do is put this up in the system. It has a magnet on the back that's magnetized to that top of that compressor. But I could leave that in the attic, come back outside and do all my work on my compressor and my condenser outside, so I can look at my temp drop while doing my superheater subcooling, for example. This has about a 100-foot range, and that's easily through a couple walls. You should be able to get far enough reach. If you do need more than 100 feet, you actually can use 2 different transmitters and leapfrog them. So what I would do is the signal would go from the main transmitter to a middle transmitter and then to the SC57. So you can do that repeatedly as far as you need to go. Just every 100 feet you'd have to put another transmitter. That's a pretty rare case, but you know, in residential or most commercial cases, 100 feet is going to be just fine. But that's the temperature split on the using the SC57 and its wireless transmitter. Alright, now another cool application would be to get wireless amperage. This would be mainly to get amperage in your blower while the door is closed. If you don't have the door closed, you won't get accurate amp draws. So what I can do is take my Fieldpiece amp clamp accessory head, attach it to the transmitter, and send it the signal wirelessly. So this one is the AC amperage. This line tells you up here, volts AC. That's what you want to put it in. Put it in the AC mode. Once I have that set up, I can just go ahead and clamp it around any wire. And so I got it clamped around, in this case I got it clamped around the little compressor wire. And then turn on my meter. You'll notice that I have it in the off position right now. But once I turn it on, it'll remember the accessory head that I linked it up to the first time. So right now that little compressor is pulling about an amp, 1.2 amps, you know, really small amperage. But that's doing it wirelessly, and if I needed to do it on a blower motor, which is oftentimes that blower is hard, you know, you can't get accurate amp draws unless the meter's actually at the at the blower, so you can close the door and send it outside to where you actually can read it. And that is the SC57.